Okay, everybody, we are here with Jimmy LaValle, and he is the composer on the new Benson and Morad film, Something in the Dirt. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well. Missing being on the ground at Sundance, but you know,
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
movies are okay. So
Yeah.
now let's talk about Something in the Dirt. This is, if anybody knows Aaron and Justin's films, they are like lo-fi sci-fi and very intimate. And yeah, these two guys start documenting a phenomenon that's happening in their Laurel Canyon apartment, and craziness ensues. But how did you get involved with Something in the Dirt?
This is my fourth film with them. So um, they came to me in early COVID. I want to say, I guess not that, well, August 2020-ish, probably July, August 2020-ish, something like that. And they just were like, yeah, I wrote this. Justin's like, I wrote this film. We're just going to shoot it, just like, are you on board? And of course it's like, yes, before I read anything, I'm always like, yes, it's our fourth film together. And, we have a great working relationship. And I trust them. I think they trust me as well. So yeah, I got the script in September 2020.
Uh-huh.
Um, Read it, loved it, was confused by it, was enamored by it, was just like, whoa, what what is this gonna be? Like this, are they gonna do this? And so then they left. They went off and they did, Moon Knight in Europe. I think they shot it. They must have shot it around then. I think they shot it and they left in November 2020-ish or something like that. So then they shot it and they left. And then I finally got a cut July 2021. But between that, I had started to kind of come up with my initial ideas and share music and to make sure we were all on the right track.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, well, first of all, you did the music on their other films. Also amazing work.
Thank you.
But again, I'm a huge fan of where they go with their movies, their type of films, because nobody's doing it. On top of it, it's smart.
I'm surprised every time. I'm always surprised by what they come up with. The angle. It's like, like I'm going to write a movie about a monster. Like, how many times has that been done, right? But it's
Right,
just
right.
it's not. It's like it's a fresh angle, or it's a fresh direction, or whatever whatever it is. So yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, and they lean into their talents. So that, I guess my next question was like, when did you see it? How did so you had a concept of what the storyline was, and so you were developing your themes then, but then once you saw a cut of the film, how did that affect your writing, and where did that go?
Yeah. So oddly enough, like this film, I read the script, I came up with my initial ideas in my head and
Right.
what I wanted to do, like on my first pass of the script, I thought that it kind of resembled, Hollywood noir, or like, that kind of just kind of investigation, like searching, collecting data, and that kind of thing. So I kind of was like, what, it could be really cool. And then also at the same time, I was listening to the soundtrack from that film, or from the TV series I May Destroy You, and one particular, and this is not, this isn't indicative of the rest of that soundtrack. There's just this one piece. It's a full choral ensemble. It's really beautiful. It's called Siren Songs. And I forget what it is, but it's like the British something choral orchestra or something like that. Anyhow, I was redoing my studio and just kind of like listening, and this came on, and I thought like, oh, and I immediately called, Justin and Aaron. I was like, hey, what if I did a vocal only score? And they're like, oh, okay, cool. But I mean, they're like, and they like vocals, and we've always used, chants or core, or anything, and something
Sure.
like that in both the Endless and in Synchronic. And they always allude to something kind of medieval, or something before, or something older in the past, and vocal kind of like um, Gregorian chant, that kind of thing. Anyhow, so I had that idea, and but then I was playing with my synth one day, and essentially was just messing around with this new function on it, and I came up with this like this sound, right?
Yeah, very theremin sounding.
Yeah, and just this thing that's just like moving and twisting and turning and just always kind of circling, and if you add other layers, it just gets off and nothing's in sync, and I felt like, I didn't really know how it translated or how it supported the film in that moment, but it felt right. Um, so I sent them like 4 minutes of that,
Mhm.
playing around on that sound. And I sent them another version with that and some choral kind of pads over it, and they loved it. And then so fast forward, and then based on that, I did came up with probably like 10 other like sound palettes and ideas, like something to support the prisms and the floating and the
Mhm.
something to support kind of trying to get into characters and melodics and things like that. I didn't really know where any of those things were going, but it was just the initial kind of ideas of me creating. And so often those things don't get used. They're just like, oh, this is a cool piece, and I'm in this world, I'm in this headspace of your film, and this is the music that I'm making. And that's all going to change when I see picture, because that's just how it is. But this is initially what I'm, my first reactions.
Sure.
So I sent that to them, and they loved it. And when I got the first cut in July 2021, that piece was in there. However, they had this other kind of Philip Glass cue from an Errol Morris film that just threw me for a loop, because it was like basically supported every single moment you see them theorizing and talking about the phenomenon, which if you
Mhm.
see the film, it is a lot. That's what the film is, right? It's basically them talking about it. So I'm like, oh shit, I gotta okay, I gotta come up with this. I gotta come up with something that's like, you know, that's of this mind, that's of this palette of
Yeah, and is kind of the musical through line for theorizing and
the entire film. Yeah.
yeah.
So like, and until I do that, I can't move forward. Um, and so I was stumped for like a month and a half. I was stumped. I was just like, what is this theme going to be? And there's so many different directions that are, just terrible, to my opinion. They're awful. Um, but and then eventually I just came back to that original idea, um, and was able to kind of find a moment that it worked, and then build off of it, and then also dissect it and kind of just be able to like compartmentalize the different voicings out, be able to spread them around, build it
Mhm.
here, take it away there, and then also come up with another similar thematic cue in the same family. And so those two pieces kind of became my that's what really then propelled me through, and was able, made me able to kind of like fine tune the rest of the film and find my way through the rest.
Were there any stretches of score that you were particularly proud of with how it married to the visuals?
Yeah, the first scene when they're talking about what just happened, they're just like, and it's kind of like there's a lot of cutaways back and forth with the archival footage
Right.
they're talking about, and um, tempo wise, pacing wise, the cue really came together to really hit and give me those moments to just like be able to seamlessly shift as if it was just married together, from the beginning. um,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say because it the film really uh blends traditional narrative with the faux doc feel.
all right, yeah.
And then
So yeah, and then like that's also my scoring style too, is to score the picture and to try to hit those cuts and make those things happen. So I was really proud of particularly of that moment. And then there's other big moments of there's a scene of John kind of like alone in the apartment, and there's a light source that happens, and then it cuts into the reveal of the fact that they're recreating what they had started, and are getting questioned, and you know, there's that scene I also think kind of like really fits well together. And I mean, yeah, there's actually a lot when I start to think about it. There's also another scene when, you know, it starts with Levi saying that he's going to leave town, and you can tell John. John calls him, takes over, you know, basically bogarts the conversation as he does throughout the entire film, kind of bogarts over. um, but but yeah, and like starts to talk, and then like, you know, starts to tell the story. He's like, you know, was meeting his ex-husband, and you know, got a check, and then like right when it cuts to that, like the score kind of cuts, but the through line is this kind of propulsing percussion, and then we go back to our kind of like main thematic, you know, sound, that sound that I was playing.
Mm.
It kind of just starts to accentuate the different moments happening, and kind of dancing around the dialogue, and the scene cuts. So I mean, yeah, there's a lot of happy, you know, happy cuts there. So
Yeah, there's some, honestly, there's some really good work in that film. What's it like working with Justin and Aaron? I mean, you mentioned, you went into it a little bit, that they kind of uh, let you go off in a direction, but are they precise with things, or do they just give you a ton of freedom?
they give me a ton of freedom, and then that freedom becomes precise, if that makes sense. You know, like
Gotcha.
I do. They, you know, I got a whole kind of email about, you know, different kinds of ideas and things to pull from. You know, there was, you know, talk of like pulling from the endless, for example, that these films are going to tie together if you want to use themes from the endless to do that. I didn't end up doing that, but you know, that was in the there. And then there was also the thing, the mention of the Philip Glass kind of motif that was happening throughout.
Mhm.
There was a mention of, you know, Gregorian chants, and also just any kind of like medieval instrumentation. They're always drawn to those things. You know, like we experimented with the hurdy gurdy on this one. Um, and But yeah, so they give me all of these things. Then again, like I read the script and I come up with my first kind of patch of ideas. And then I get this email, and then I might be able to create a little bit more based on that information. But really, not until I get picture do I really know like where I'm going to land and what I'm going to do. Um, and then when I get picture, and once I got like a good, you know, coat of paint, I guess is kind of how I like to put it, over the film. We meet. They start to come in kind of regularly to kind of, you know, come through the finish line. And through those moments, they're very precise, and they're very helpful, very clear. It's a really kind of seamless, you know, working relationship. You know, they're just sitting right here on the couch and doing their work, and you know, just like kind of doing, you know, everything together. Um, and yeah, they do. It comes down to really precise timings, and really precise, like, oh, so we see this right here, and they'll say like, I hate to say this, but like go like check out the temp, and you'll see kind of like what we cut it, and like why we cut it like that, and it kind of makes sense. And you know, it's just like this whole dialogue back and forth between the two of us. It's really, you know, much like the way that they obviously work together, just
Mm.
really, you know, seamless, easy, kind of finish each other's sentences, and like you know, like, or if someone has a counter idea than what they just said, like it's always like, oh yeah, that's great. You know,
Mhm.
it's there's never a, you know, never really an argument, or like a debate, or you know, anything. You know, it's just really it's really a really great, um you know, easy relationship. And yeah, this being our fourth film, I do feel that I've earned, you know, a level of trust um
Mhm.
with them, you know.
Excellent. Yeah, it's just yeah, I it was great work. I can't say it enough. I loved it. So the in-person aspect of Sundance is not a thing this year, but how does it feel to have a film finally playing at Sundance?
Yeah, I mean, it feels great. I had been to Sundance previously for my, you know, artist work under the album leaf, being part of ASCAP music cafes and doing kind of shows there, and
Got it.
parties and stuff like that. But I'd been there twice,
Okay.
and previous to me scoring films, I was there, and I was kind of actually one previous and one post. You know, the second time I was there specifically, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to be there, I want to network, I want to meet. But you know, really, like, it's mixed into a tour, so I'm in and out. I'm there
Yeah.
for the night, and it's like depending on who's there, and I don't have I don't have a pass, I don't have a public, I don't anything. So I just gotta like
Yeah,
sit
it's
down
kind of
and ask
crazy.
them, and just like hope that like, hey, what's your badge say? Oh, cool, man, what's going on? I don't know. So yeah, I was really, really, really looking forward to having the opportunity. Really proud. I think we've luckily with Justin and even my wife's films, we've premiered, um, you know, premiered at Toronto, at Tribeca, at South by Southwest, and all of these really like kind of great, like the cream of the crop North American festivals, and now finally Sundance. And it was just like boom, there's the that's the trifecta or whatever it is, and like um, getting all excited, buying winter coats because we're all like, Southern Californians and we have no clue what 19 degree weather feels like. And,
I know.
like all of those things. And we're just really excited and just like, got our apartment in downtown and, set up the kids going away for the weekend and all, just we were just psyched, ready to go. And then, yeah, of course, creeping little by little. It's just like, oh, we're really gonna be there? Yeah, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be there. We're really gonna be there. And then
We can test every 2 days. It's
yeah,
okay.
exactly. And I feel the protocols that they put out early on with the attendance was like, that's come on, like that's we're there. Like this is okay. This is gonna be But anyhow, yeah, it's so to further answer the question. I mean, yeah, it's a little. It's very exciting to have it out, exciting to see. It's harder for me as a composer because a lot of this, I guess, quote unquote, spotlight is really on the directors and the directors' work and the filmmakers. And I'm doing press as well, but they're obviously really in it, and it's feeling like a remote festival for them,
Yeah.
and myself too. But I mean, just you can't replicate what it's like to watch a film in an audience,
Mhm.
for the first time. And especially this film, I think, Justin wrote a lot of really great comedic moments. And I was just, there's comedic moments in all of the movies, but this one really had some real,
The
real
phone. The
yeah.
phone killed me. When
Yeah,
it-
yeah, totally. Yeah. And just the way to like, that's that same scene I was talking about earlier.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that or like the cutaways on the rose croutons and the weep, weep, and the synth, kind of embellished. There's a lot of like really funny things. And when John's about to eat the fruit and he's like, hold on a second, I would tell you the story. Like it was like this cut, there's that, whatever. And so I felt like there would have been. I was looking forward to those moments because I'm always surprised. I'm like, are these jokes going to land? And so, anyways, yeah. So I wish that we would have had that experience, and I think that we will in the future. I think that hopefully it shows at another festival or another screen.
You will. Trust me. I mean, come on. It's Justin and Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean, they're they're amazing.
Yeah,
So
they're on the up. They're on the up, and I'm really proud of them and happy to be on the ride.
yeah, definitely. Well, again, great work.
Thank you so much.
I wish I had the soundtrack so I could just kind of listen to it. Is it available or no?
There's 2 songs. There's 2 cues out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the playlist.net and Cinemacy. I think if you just search Jimmy LaValle, Something in the Dirt, album leaf, whatever, I think those 2 links will come up. So there are those 2 cues that are out.
awesome. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and kind of dig deep into the musical score of Something in the Dirt. Best of luck on this, and this is going to be at some more festivals, so you will get that in-person experience yet.
Right.
I know it. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time too.
Absolutely, man. Take care, and we'll see you on the next movie.
Sounds good.